Hey guys, and welcome to Vlogmas Day 10. It's literally like 7:30 in the morning and I am going upstairs to leave to go and rescue 250 chickens from battery farms. So I've never done this before, but I'm going with a friend that has. Now I don't know where the farm is, don't know whose farm it is, don't know why we're rescuing chicks, but we are. So let's go and see.
Probably just its new feathers.
Hey Bubbas, you guys are going to a new home. Yep. So what ones are hers?
You got a roller, Hartley. Look. These two top ones.
The two. Yeah.
He's obviously wound up.
We can see the chickens.
Man, if Ronan got that big, I'd fly. I just want to sit on your lap. Imagine sitting on your lap. And that's 1 mil. Yeah, you gotta do one at the top, one at the bottom.
Hello, chicken. Are you ready for this?
Who's doing that?
Are you ready for this, girls? Come on.
Are you ready for this, chicken mum?
I thought it was in your mouth the other way. I was like,
we're not coming
oh, I
out.
don't think that's very
Oh,
smart.
good. She stood and pooped before she put it on my hand. That's good. It's alright.
I highly doubt it.
I can do mouth first because that's the hardest.
Hey. It's alright. Hartley knows.
There we go.
And then
Mils on the, yeah.
on the bum.
Just like 1 mil.
Yeah, they all
Yeah.
had lights.
There's water down here if you need it.
She's so
Probably need a drink. Yeah, it's your turn.
Sad grass.
How's your girl doing today?
Hi.
She must know something's up.
Hello.
Something was going on over here. We were out here today putting water and stuff, and she was kind of like, oh, what's going on?
Look how much room you have.
That just like moved at all. We left so many behind, Dana.
I don't want to know.
Yeah. We should have started at the end so we didn't have to walk past this. There we go.
Hey guys, so it's now nearly 6 o'clock and we finished the rescue at 12. I didn't realize how emotionally draining it was, and I think the reason for that is because when you're there you've just got a job to do and you just want to get as many out as you can, and you feel so focused and you don't really have time to process it, and then when you get home and you start thinking about it, you just get really upset and you're physically drained because it's so tiring walking like a very long way to grab hens out of cages and bring them to cars, and then it's also very emotionally draining, especially for someone like me that really loves animals. But basically I just wanted to sit down and talk to you guys about what I experienced today. This is not going to be a everyone has to go vegan video, because I'm personally not vegan. It's more, I would rather you guys would put your money towards buying free range eggs than battery farmed eggs, because honestly, like, seeing these conditions, I would never want to put an egg made in a farm like that in my mouth ever again. And my family always buys free range eggs, but there's the occasion where they'll accidentally buy battery farmed eggs and I get really upset because I'm like, no, like, I've heard all these stories, but having actually experienced it now for myself firsthand, I would never ever buy them again. So I'm not gonna be like, yo, go vegan. I'm not Freely. I'm not gonna like hate on you if you're not vegan, because I'm not vegan myself. But just think about when you buy eggs at the supermarket, just think about what really you're buying and whether you're going to be paying money for cruelty or paying money for farming in a much more friendly, caring way. And I know free range farming isn't perfect, but trust me, it is so much better than what I experienced today. So basically there were 4 different sheds. We only got into 2 We only got into one of the sheds, which was shed 2, and I think each time they do a clear out, which is like every 6 months, they do a different shed. And so basically the reason we were allowed to go inside and take away and rescue some hens is because they're at the end of their lifespan in a battery farm, which is 18 months. However, I used to work in a zoo and we had a rooster there that is 13 years old and is still alive today. We also have lots of other hens that can live to 8, 9, 10. So a year and a half is not even a quarter of their life expectancy, and that's the age in which they're put down because they start producing eggs less often and it's bad for business. So instead they get a whole new like shed full of chicks and they start again. So the issue with clearing out these hens is that we have to have enough homes for the hens to be fostered and adopted out in order to take the hens out. We can't just take them out and have nowhere to put them. We have to actually have things organized, and we have to negotiate the numbers with the farmers. Our relationship with the farmers is so important. If someone was to say something mean to them or say I don't agree with this, or start crying or become emotional or something while you're there, and make the farmers feel bad or uncomfortable, they can just cut this off and say, nah, you're not allowed back, you're not allowed to take any more chicks ever again, and then you've just think about all the lives you've just lost that you could have saved otherwise. So we rescued 267 hens today, which is a lot of hens, but there were about 2,000 in the shed, and because we're only rescuing a small number, we could only take the healthy ones. That was probably the hardest part. So basically the layout of the shed was not nearly as bad as documentaries and other videos I've seen on battery farms. Not to say that it isn't bad at all, but it just wasn't as horrific conditions as I was expecting. I feel like this was not as bad as it could be, and for that I'm thankful. They said last time there was a pile of poop underneath the cages that were waist high, but they have obviously recently cleaned out the shed. There was only maybe a week or two's amount of poop on the ground. It obviously was cleaned out not long ago, which is really nice to see, because they are pretty much living in their own feces, these chickens. The smell inside the shed is horrible. It wasn't as bad as it could be. I was hearing everyone that's been there before saying that there are times when you end up gagging and you just couldn't take it anymore. But it did smell really strongly of ammonia, which isn't a nice smell, and it's just because of all the feces that are everywhere. So the way the shed was set out, there were 4 rows of chickens, and they were kept in these metal cages, bar cages. The size of the cages, I didn't get the exact measurements, but basically if you imagine a chicken, they're rectangle cages. They're kind of like this. So if say that this up here is the front and this is the back, if they're going to stand front on, they have about 4 inches of space from the back of their tail, and they can comfortably move sideways. Their feathers might be a little squashed facing sideways, but generally they can fit quite comfortably. So for one chicken, that is a very comfortable cage. It's still, I would say it's too small, but it's not so small they can't move. However, there were 2 chickens to each cage, and the chickens that had a cage to themselves was because their partner had died. All these chickens were missing feathers, generally around their neck, and that's because they would keep putting their heads up through the cages, and there was a chicken with an eye picked out, there was lots of broken legs, there was lots of broken wings. They are standing on these metal bars at the bottom of the cage, but they've got really big spaces in them, so their feet can't comfortably sit flat. And you can just see how broken some of these feet were. So basically we just started down one row that the farmer told us to start. We don't get to choose which row to do, we don't get to choose where to start. It's completely up to the farmer where we start and what we do, and we have to follow him very specifically. We have to keep extreme track of numbers and things, so everyone has their own car full of their own cages, and they've got the amount of number that they agreed on they're taking, and they've got a tally chart, and they have to mark off how many chickens they're taking and whatnot. So we started at the very start and we all lined up, There were two people that are very good at handling chickens, and they would take the chickens out of the cages because they can sometimes flap their wings, and you don't want to break, you don't want their wings to get broken or anything, so we can't take them. So they would take them out, and then they'd hand them to a vet. And there was one vet there who was volunteering her time, which is very lovely, and she would pretty much just do a full body check very quickly to see if they have any diseases, to see if they've got any breaks or fractures, to make sure that like they had to make sure they could stand and they could actually walk, because the ones that can't don't have a very high chance of surviving. And I mean, considering they're kept in tiny cages, they're not used to walking. Most of them haven't actually ever walked properly before. They're just kind of like petted around like their little tiny area. So we had to make sure that they could walk, they could hold their own body weight, that their wings were okay, that like they didn't have any diseases or anything like that. And so their whole body was just quickly checked, and the vet would pass the bird to the first person in line, and they would walk out and put it into one of the cages in the cars where we're going to take them to be free range and beautiful hens. And so that what happened, and I don't know how long these, like, the lines are full of chickens, but like there's probably about 500 on each row to make up 2,000. There's 4 rows of chickens, and I think the rows would start at one end and go for about 600-700 meters. Like, it's a very long walk, and so the more we got out, the more we had to walk back carrying them. And the worst part about that was when you walked back, you saw all the ones that got left behind because they weren't well, and they're all chirping at you and kind of screaming at you, and you just have to kind of put your head down and like not think about it too much as you're carrying another chicken out, because those ones are getting left behind, and it kind of just becomes routine. My battery's dying, hold on. And so you kind of just realize that every time you walked past them holding a chick that was going to be saved, we'd walk past many that were going to be left behind because they were too unwell. And that was definitely the hardest part, and watching the vet take one out and then have to put it back in the cages because it just wasn't well enough and it's not going to survive. It doesn't have a amazing chance of survival. The thing that really disturbed me was the amount of chickens that had broken wings and broken feet and diseases. They're still used for eggs. They're still used to lay eggs that we eat, that they sell and that people eat. People are eating eggs from diseased chickens. Like, that cannot be healthy for you. Another thing I didn't like was the food. So since I worked with chickens before in a professional setting, at a zoo, we feed chickens normal like chicken pellets and things like that, and that way they learn how to pick properly, and it helps with their beaks not growing too long or like growing in weird shapes, because it kind of wears your beaks down because they'll pick into big pellets and stuff, which are quite hard. Whereas they were eating stuff that we would feed our chicks. We've got this stuff called chick starter. If you guys like are familiar with chickens, you might know about this, but it's like pretty much like chicken pellets that have been crushed up, so it's really tiny, so it can fit in chicken, like baby chicks' beaks, and that's what they were fed. But their food is also full of hormones, so they've all got a very strange hormone imbalance, and the reason they're fed hormones is so that they produce larger eggs more frequently, and so they're supposed to enhance the quality of the eggs and also make the chickens lay more frequently than their body is naturally supposed to. So when you're buying battery farmed eggs, some free range places do this as well, I'm not just like knocking battery farmed, but when you buy battery farmed eggs especially, there's always going to be extra hormones added into that, and that's not healthy for you. Like, I would not want to have hormones that would like give you more estrogen so that you're going to have your period more often or something. Like, that's pretty much what the whole idea behind it is, because eggs are chickens' periods. You know how like girls have periods and they pass and then they have like ovulate and stuff like that when they're not pregnant? Hens pass literal eggs. I was literally on the car ride home picking mites off my legs and arms because of like, I mean, I probably carried at least like 40 hens from the inside of the shed into one of the cars, and like I just was covered in mites, and I just can't even imagine how many mites would be on the rest of the hens. and mites actually, like, you can feel them. Like, you can feel them crawling on you. It's kind of like having an ant, you can kind of feel it. And so imagine having, like, a very small amount of body, but, like, having just thousands of mites over you, like, those poor chickens. The reason I had this opportunity to go and rescue these battery farmed hens is because one of my friends owns an animal rescue, well, a guinea pig rescue, and she also rescues any other animals that need her help, and she fosters guinea pigs out and then adopts them out to loving homes, and she's been doing that for quite a few years now. Her name is Hartley, and her mum Raylene also helps her out, and so they gave me the opportunity to come and help them today. This is like their third or fourth chicken rescue that they've done, so they knew what they were in for, and it was kind of nice going with people that have experienced it before. I was really worried that I'd just start crying, and that's like one of the rules, is like you don't cry, especially when the farmer's around. And I was really worried that I'd start crying, or that like it would get too much and I had to go sit down and like kind of have my own space. But the thing is, once you're there, you're literally just like working as hard as you possibly can. Like, you're just like, there's a job to do, let's get these out. So you're literally walking like down this like 700 meter like shed back and forth non-stop. It took us, we started at 9 and we finished at about 12:15, and we had like maybe 1-2 minute break, but other than that it's just go 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 go. So it's very like physically draining, because you just keep going up there, grab a chicken, bring it all the way back, then walk all the way back up there, grab another chicken, bring it all the way back. And less people were there in the end, because basically when people would fill up their cars with chickens, they'd just leave to go and like, because you don't want to leave chickens in cars for too long, because like they're gonna get really hot, and that's not fair on the hens. So they would take the hens home and just get them set up somewhere nice. They didn't need to come back or anything, like they'd just leave, and that was like it. So we were the last car to get packed up, so we were there to the very end, and it got to the point where there was only like 5 or 6 of us instead of over 10 of us. So we were kind of doing like, there was 2 people like checking off the numbers and like holding open the cages and stuff and making sure that they were all there, and the rest of us were just running back and forth. Yeah, and like the vet and the 2 people that were taking the hens out of the cages, they literally stayed inside the shed all day long with the smell, and just seeing all of the hens on the other rows that we know we don't have time, we aren't able to rescue them because we don't have enough homes or fosterers or adoptees to give the hens to. The hens are so beautiful though. They're not used to human contact. I mean, they're used to having a farmer come in and feed them and like collect their eggs every day, but they're not used to being cuddled or being loved, and none of them have ever gone outside before. When you would get given them by the vet and you'd carry it outside, quite often they'd be quite scared, obviously. I mean, I would be freaking out, and they would like cuddle into your neck like with their heads, and you'd like hold them like this and they'd cuddle right into you. And then when you walk over the threshold of the door to outside where they've never been before, they've always seen this light when the farmer goes in and stuff, but they've never actually been outside before. They all kind of like pop their heads up and they look around, and they're like really confused. And it's kind of like this amazement, whereas like this was like, I don't know, like 10 feet away from their cages their entire time, but they've never been outside before. But yeah, I'm gonna go now. It's too hot in my room. I'm gonna go sit outside. But yeah, that's all I'm gonna say about chickens. Dinner time.
No, they said we drop you in there.
Yeah.
Millie, what movie are you watching?
Jaws.
What's your favourite movie?
Jaws.
And this is for dessert. Strawberries with chocolate sauce and yogurt. And Dinny's watching too, which he's very happy about.
Oh yeah, that's delicious.
How was that, Amelia?
Wow.
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 Still your favourite movie?
Wow.
Like that, Dad?
I did like
How long has it been since you've seen it?
Oh, 3 years.
A few years.
I saw it last week.
Oh, no, I saw it not so long ago, maybe the last couple of weeks.
Okay.
I think we saw it with you, didn't we?
Guys, I just got the best news. Like, I am so happy right now. So like I was saying before about the hens and how we couldn't take all of them and we had to leave behind the sick ones. Well, one of the other rescues that live in, I think it's Coca-Cola Rescue, went and like they heard that we couldn't take them all, and she picked up every single one of the sick ones that we would have left behind, or that we did leave behind. And so all of the ones that we went through have been picked up, and hopefully with her on board again next week they're going to take about 50 hens, but now with her, if she's on board, they'll be able to take some more, and so more will be able to get rescued and they'll be able to get out of those tiny cages and those really poor living conditions. And I'm so excited for the hens. That is such good news. Like, I was just kind of like thinking about them before, and it makes me really upset because like we walked past them like 100 times, all the hens that we couldn't take, and to know that they're all going somewhere safe makes me so happy. So yeah, that's like the best news I could have gotten today. Yeah, so on that high note, we just finished watching Jaws. I haven't seen it before. It was my first time watching it and I really liked it, so that's good. I was always told as a kid never to watch it, so I never did. But I wish I did because I really liked it. But now I'm just chilling in bed and I'm about to go to sleep. So yeah, thank you guys for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed today's vlog. It was a lot different. I've never done a battery farm rescue before, but if you guys liked this vlog, I might take you on for more if I do more in the future, or just other animal rescues in general. So yeah, thanks for watching. Smile, be safe, and stay beautiful, guys. And I'll see you in my next video. Adios.
Have a holly jolly Christmas, it's the best time of the year.